Hello, this is the 60th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2222, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So, it's us.
Again.
Yay!
We didn't die or something horrible happened to us in the last week.
Your friendly friends from the future.
Oh, indeed, I'm jumping ahead. Yes. 200 years in your future.
And
somehow.
It's
we know how.
We didn't leave a cliffhanger last week on purpose, but there was just a lot of stuff going on.
We were a little worried.
And we can start off with the good news.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the world started spinning again.
It's spinning, and it's spinning.
Same speed as it always did.
Yeah, it's spinning as if it has never stopped spinning.
Mm-hmm. Not spinning faster to try and catch up, like on the number of rotations, which could have been a thing.
That would have been nice.
Mm-hmm. But no, but it's still good. It's spinning the speed it spanned before.
Do we want to summarize what happened? So
right. In case you didn't listen to last week's episode, go listen to episode 59. Then you'll know what we're talking about. But in brief, last week the world stopped spinning. When we were recording, it had stopped about 5 hours previously, and we were worried, and all kinds of stuff was going on. And then later that day, early the next day, depending on how you want to put it, it started spinning again.
Yeah, exactly. So it basically brings us to
11 and a half hours after it stopped.
That's what apparently is, yeah. And it's you hear the way we speak about it, you immediately notice what's the biggest problem that this left is we don't know anymore how to talk about time.
Yeah, because looking out the window, you can tell, okay, midday is when the sun's all the way up there. That part seems simple enough, but we have so many systems, computers, networked computers, of course, that rely on having the same time that we can't just, at first, why not just change all the clocks to match, to match what's really going on? Apparently that will cause way too many problems to do, at least without enough notice. So at the moment, looking out the window right now, it looks like it is 8 o'clock in the evening outside, but according to our clocks, it's 7:30 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, or any morning.
11, well, for us, 11 and a half hours. Our clocks are saying it's 11 and a half hours in the future from when it really looks like outside.
And it's we don't know anymore if it's now evening or not.
Right.
The clocks say it's not.
Clocks say it's morning.
But outside says it is.
Yep. And our bodies, by now, we're more used to what it looks like outside. Those first few days were really like hardcore jet lag for the whole world.
The whole world was being jet lagged.
Yeah.
Even the robots were being jet lagged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was, and I think by now we have this jet lag behind us, but this bit of time conception, it's basically making everything more complicated. Even if I speak to Mr. Dobalina saying, hey, remind me that I have to go to Fizzles tonight, and then, so what's tonight?
Yeah. And when you're talking, when we're talking, it seems like, you say tonight, okay, that's when it's night outside. It seems straightforward, or the morning, or see you this afternoon, but computerized systems, they're going on some more rigidly defined logic that, evening is from, 6 o'clock, so 1800 until 2300, for example, or whatever. And so then if the clock itself says 0700, so 7 in the morning, that's not the evening, even though it is.
Yeah, I mean, the scenario that I just gave didn't happen with Fizzle, but I needed to drop something off at Mrs. Wong's at the evening, and I actually did tell Mr. Dobalina, remind me, and then he reminded me some point in the morning or so, because it's a PA, there's no perception of the outside world. It just knows, hey, it's evening now.
Yeah. And there's a thing where how I have some of my computers completely off any network, external network, I can set my own internal time server in my house so that they match what's outside, which is nice enough for me, but that doesn't work for personal assistants because they need to work across the world.
Yeah.
You can't set them to have a custom time zone.
Yeah, and it's also, whenever you speak about anything related to time, you have to always specify which time, like, as if we're working in parallel dimensions or different time zones, or
time zones is more applicable, I think. Yeah, right, because it's like, that's the difference. Like if I was talking about someone, on the east coast of Canada, then that's actually I don't know the name for that time zone, but either way, you would say whatever. Let's make up a time zone.
Canadian East Coast time zone,
CETZ. There you go.
Ceased.
Yeah.
That ceased.
Anyway, and then we have a different one here, and then that's another way. I mean, that's a thing. Yeah, you just say the time, and then you put the letters after it to say which time zone. But now we're needing to use that for physical time, like planet spinning time, and electronic time that we've been using forever and ever.
But the thing is, we still have time zones.
Yeah.
So if I speak to somebody in Bangalore and I'm saying, hey, let's
need to have two time zones combined.
Exactly. Let's continue talking tonight. So if it's their tonight or mine tonight, or if it's like the Earth tonight or the clock tonight, and based on which time zone, it's
Like at first, last week we were super worried about what was going on in the world.
Yeah, volcanoes erupting and stuff like that, and Earth crashing into
shifting,
the moon.
Yeah, but that that didn't happen, and then it started spinning. So we're not worried about that anymore. Now we just have these more mundane issues.
Yeah, although they did are still looking for a big herd of mammoths.
They haven't found them.
No. It's like that theory that was basically
that they were the ones who started it somehow.
Yeah, that was a theory. That was, but I'm still saying it's unrelated. But it's now being made into a bit of a cover up or so. Where did all the mammoths go? The Earth stopped. Now it's rotating
maybe they
again.
were behind it. I guess is the logic. Yeah.
Maybe they did run into a wormhole. They've been popping up more frequently recently. So. Okay, but so that's the biggest problem we have now. It's but it was a pretty stressful night or day or evening or whatever, because they were everybody was trying to figure out what was going on, and then they're trying to solve things. Were you still awake when they were?
No, I was. So it was. I said earlier, it was like. For us, for our bodies, rather, and according to the clock, it was 4:15 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it still looked like 4:45 in the afternoon outside, I was so tired, I'd fallen asleep about 2 hours before. So I was asleep when it started spinning again. Which is, so at least when I was younger, I used to fantasize about having, so I used to always stay up so late at night, and then, wake up too late in the morning, like sometimes even in the afternoon. I always wished, what if there was a day, if it could be 36 hours long? Oh, yeah. And then I could be awake as long as I like, which seemed to be 23, 24 hours. And then I'd be able to sleep for 12 hours, get enough sleep, catch up. And I always imagined that would be a really wonderful thing. I even tried it a few times when I was on holiday from work, that I would, shut the blinds and try and get my body used to that kind of rhythm. And even back then I found, actually, that doesn't work. I get really tired around 18, 19 hours somehow. Anyway, so... Last night, I got really tired and went to sleep and slept through it. What about yourself?
I like your idea, actually. It's like I had other things on my mind, but you know how the movie Yoda versus Agent Smith 3, that's 20 hours. Mm-hmm. We could have watched that, or at least because the Earth, like we could have.
Could have used it.
People had other things on their mind, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
No, I was with Napoleon actually, and Mozart was there as well, and she was organizing the massive robot relocation. As we mentioned last time.
Right. So, and that was a week ago. So that was relocating to the parts of the Earth which were in constant sunlight.
Yeah, exactly. Because as we mentioned last week, they rely sunlight of course, and they were panicking, and then in the course of the night or evening, or let's say in the course
the
of
subsequent hours.
Yeah, the subsequent hours. Like they're still calling it the downturn. At least in the robot community, it seems to taking hold. But let's say during the downturn, they were trying to get the teleporter network to work again. And then at one point during those hours, it worked. And then they started spitting robots basically that were relocating from the dark side to the bright side. And they were basically organizing housing for them. And they were not powered down yet, but of course low on energy, so they needed to go somewhere.
Worried about it.
And then, of course, their own robot connections, they immediately had a lot of room available, but not enough, obviously. So I was basically helping them tapping into human living quarters that could also house robots.
Right, where they could also charge themselves.
Yeah, but of course they all relocated here, and then were relocating here, and then Earth started spinning again, which meant because it was at the end of the afternoon here, it started getting dark.
Yeah.
So they had just all gone here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm laughing, but they didn't think it was very funny.
No.
So they all had to basically go back there because it was getting light where they were coming from originally. So.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing, yeah.
Sure. And so then when it did start spinning again, was there a sense of relief? Or what was
not immediately, because like first I was stressed because it was rotating. Interesting enough, or like they are actually much more resilient to anything, but that definitely made them stressed. So at least for them, not initially.
No.
But initially it was just like dealing with whatever is going on right now, but now it calmed down.
Yeah.
But they are...
I guess there's been, I can imagine rather, maybe you would know better. The issue is, so the thing that robots need is sunlight. And the issue with staying on the surface of the Earth is that so normally you're limited by the rotation of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, no rotation, but either way you're affected. Living in space.
Yeah.
Not affected by such things. Is there a movement for some robots moving into space more?
There's talk about this, yeah. So because Mozart was also saying first they were going to places where's the light most reliable at Earth. So no matter what happens, standing still, which season, whatever.
So the poles, I guess.
Apparently not. Apparently it's somewhere on the equator.
Okay.
Yeah, I also explained it. It's somewhere in Peru or Ecuador or somewhere in South America where on average there's the most light or closest to the sun or something like that. But in the big scheme of things, it's just marginal differences. And then yeah, what you're saying, there's talk of relocating and also relocating towards the sun. So.
That too, yeah. They sure, it's brighter. Like the closer you get, there's more of it that can be used.
Yeah. So, but I mean, no specific plans, but I would be surprised if we didn't see a bit of a exodus of robots after this.
Yeah.
I guess the coming weeks yet, and then at one point they're gonna forget that this is a thing that might happen again because.
That's not just for robots, that's for everyone. Mm-hmm. The question is, was this a one-time thing? So we still don't know what caused it, but was it a one-time thing, or is this somehow going to happen again, and then soon, or long time from now? We don't know.
I heard more crazy theories about what happened.
Yeah.
Well, they started now forming committees, so
like all governments and scientific agencies,
all kinds of institutions, and then let's form a committee and let's define a process and let's pinpoint who's actually responsible for what, and then who do we need to involve?
I guess no one wants to take on that responsibility. Or does anyone want to take on that responsibility?
No, they're just it's basically not pointing blame or anything, but it's basically it's.
Oh yeah, no, it's more okay. Cool, take on the responsibility. What can you even do about it?
But it's basically the inhabitants of the Earth identified a process that didn't have an owner. So who's the process owner of Earth rotations? That was always there. Nobody really. Right. It worked, and now it stopped working, and then suddenly it's the question: hey, who's responsible for this? Who's keeping an eye on that? Somebody check the logs. Nothing is in place. So they're now first trying to identify what happened, and then how can we avoid it from happening again?
Yeah, or at least know that it's coming, and so prepare for it. At the very least, if it's something beyond our ability to prevent.
There's now more and more talk about. We cause it, humanity, not you and me.
No, not us personally.
No. Oh, you think because we're sending podcast episodes back?
I hadn't considered it, but time travel does seem like it can have unexpected effects.
I didn't hear anybody saying that theory.
No.
There's two people recording a
luckily,
podcast.
no one in our present listens to this, so they don't know about it. So you in the past, listening to this now, if you somehow know that we caused the world to stop spinning, please don't tell anyone else. But you can email us about it.
Exactly. We would like to know. Yeah. But I can't, like, I don't understand it completely, but I don't think that makes any sense.
No.
But they're saying, like, as humanity or like Earth inhabitants caused it because of the way we use a solar system.
Like getting so much solar energy from around Mercury? Or
yeah, I mean, it's...
we do, and it's a lot, but how that would affect the world...
Yeah, I don't know either. It's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
You know, what... You know, at such a massive scale have we done the last centuries that could somehow... And it's basically... We make a planet stop rotating. Maybe we didn't do it, but how come none of the other planets did that?
That was a point, yeah. We weren't really thinking of it last week, of course, but since then with people, not we again, not you and I, but it has been looked into. Was this purely the Earth that stopped spinning? Did it affect other planetary bodies in the solar system? It really was just the Earth.
Yeah.
Everywhere else stayed spinning.
And the rest of the universe is like, whatever.
Yeah.
And also, of course, we have...
Sure. Right, I'm talking about just our solar system, but from a few episodes ago, as you extra know, we have alien colleagues from all over, and they also did not experience this.
Yeah, that was also the thing. It's also, I didn't think last week to ask any of the Parsons or Illuminati at work. They were here, and they were not stressed at all.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was something. It wasn't something shocking to them.
I mean, like for the Illuminati, their planet doesn't rotate at all anyway.
Right.
So they were like,
cool.
Whatever.
It's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they live on their solar side. So they were like, finally you guys figured out, that it's... And the Parsons, they are a pretty relaxed bunch anyways. Like, okay, stop rotating, whatever. Okay, the oceans are floating towards the North Pole. Whatever, just deal with it.
Deal with it later, or deal with it as it comes.
Yeah, exactly. But so they could offer no experience about such a massive thing happening, but they also didn't seem so concerned. And also, all the dramatic predictions, volcanoes erupting and moon crashing into the Earth,
oceans migrating.
None of that happened.
No, I mean, a lot of those were long-term.
Yeah.
Theories, like what would happen if the world stayed not spinning forevermore. We don't know if that would happen because it did not last that long.
So far, the only really remaining thing is everybody being stressed about what time of day it is, and a bunch of mammoths disappearing. Could have been worse.
Yeah. Right, there were some injuries, and a few deaths last week, like I mentioned, but in the scheme of the entire planet, not so much.
Did you hear the plans of the UN?
Yes, So to say what their plans were, they want to stop, or they're proposing, pausing the Earth's rotation for another 12.5 hours. How they'll do it, we don't know. But with the idea that then the time on all our clocks will match
exactly
the time we see out the window. But I just realized, we were talking earlier, it would match in the sense that the time would match, but we would be off by 1 day. Like we would be 1 day. So our clocks would say whatever the date is.
We would still have a date problem where the clock says.
I mean, so the clocks would say it's the 5th of June, but
it is.
It is. Wait. Which way around is it?
It's
right, but according to the Earth spinning, it's the 4th of June.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's how dates work. That doesn't even matter actually. What am I talking about? It's because it's the date is around the sun. The Earth spinning around the sun. So, okay, if someone was keeping track, the Earth has spanned this many times, so it must be this day, but I don't think that's how.
No, but I think, we have seasons, so, if this would be the case for, 3 months or so, then the seasons would start to get
shifted one day.
Then we celebrate...
I guess the equinox will be shifted.
Or we celebrate solstice a day later than what we would have been, but yeah...
It seems pretty hardcore to... we don't even know what caused it. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be the same cause. The other way would be to speed up the Earth, to spin it faster, to bring it back up to where it would have been. But I think no one's proposing that.
The thing is, so that sounds more complicated. But I think stopping the Earth for another 12.5 hours sounds also pretty complicated. What if we can't get it back up running again?
Oh, indeed.
Or maybe half an hour later, then, oh shit, and then we have to do it another 23 and a half hours.
Fine-tuning, maybe.
Exactly, that we spend, you can't...
I mean, I think I mentioned it earlier, so because what seems like a much simpler solution would be just adjusting our clocks. They're all networked anyway, so change the time on the time servers, get it all synchronized, good. And of course the complexity comes into it's not that straightforward. Those time servers are spread over the entire solar system, and they would need to be changed, because that was part of the problem with the teleportation gates. Why were they not working? Was because most of their times were synchronized, but somehow a few of them were relying on the actual time. And then, you can't use teleporters where the time is out of synchronization, because you have all kinds of bad results.
Okay. I didn't realize this.
Yeah, that's definitely simpler in terms of changing some computer stuff versus stopping a whole planet spinning, and it's still somehow not so easy.
Yeah, but it also says something about our society, which then is something interesting, I guess, for the people living in the 21st century. We have a lot of technology in everything, and then that the solution is let's pause the Earth for another 12 and a half hours. It's easier than to adjust the clock.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
at least for some ways of thinking.
Yeah, but that's what they're discussing, and how on earth to do this.
By speeding up, I guess it would be the same. I'm just having fun now. Strap a bunch of rocket boosters to the equator, and either slow it down or speed it up as you like by shooting them. I don't think it works that way. I think they would cause all kinds of other problems having rockets that powerful strapped to the Earth.
Or how about everybody just moves?
Walks counterclockwise.
Exactly.
Counter spin-wise.
We just move to, where would this be for us? Like California or so?
I move house. I thought you meant like everyone marching at the same time along the equator, to spin. That's a bit...
No.
But no, everyone just move home.
Yeah, like I say, because for us right now, it's evening. No.
So it's out the window, it's 8 in the evening, thereabouts. But according to all the clocks, it's the early morning.
Yeah, exactly. So, but in California, it is actually early morning there. So how about we relocate to Southern California?
Right. So basically just shift.
Yeah, exactly. So
either the people or the... Yeah.
Exactly. We just fly planes there, and then...
You can teleport too.
Yeah, but then it's too fast.
Right. You want the gradual transition.
Or maybe not. Yeah, so I'm getting stuck in my science now, but that would be a thing, We just everybody at the Earth moves house.
Yep.
At the same time.
Straightforward enough. Everyone's doing so. Normally, a lot of people moving, or where are they going to move to? If everyone's moving,
you just get a random location in the other time zone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Southern California. Maybe we end up in the Southern American mountains that are closest to the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Frankfurt, but whatever.
Sure, it's been a nice place, but there are other nice places in the world.
I could get behind this. I will. I will be ready. And whenever I want to visit Fizzles, I'll just take a teleporter.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the last question on everybody's lips is if the UN manages this, stopping the Earth for another 12 and a half hours, we've lost a day. Do we get this day off work?
Right. Off work, or if you were on holiday, now your holiday is half a day shorter. Do you get, like, when you, instead of having to go back to work on whenever date you were going to, can you go the next day instead?
Or at the end of your month, do you get in your paycheck another day because the month was longer?
Paid. Yeah.
Or if you were working, do you get over hours? Or if you weren't allowed to do over hours, but the clocks were paused, and then important questions like this.
Yep. Those are details that will need to be worked out.
But we can use it as a cliffhanger.
An even more exciting one than last one.
Exactly. So definitely listen to our episode next week where we tell what happened with our over hours during the downturn.
Maybe we'll bring it up at some point. Maybe not. Maybe it takes longer than 1 week to resolve.
And also, let's aim for next episode to be about stuff again.
Stuff, yeah, rather than time.
Exactly. Rather than whatever is happening in our day and age. I guess, like for you, 200 years in the past, that's actually maybe not so exciting. We're all being excited about it, but I guess we're
exciting in a different way anyway. If it is exciting, like the concept, of course, of the whole world stopped spinning. But it's different from being excited about super fancy tablets that you touch with your finger.
Yeah, or space travel or whatever cool stuff that we didn't cover yet. Actually, we wanted to talk space travel last week, right?
Right.
We'll do that in a future episode. Okay. Shall we tell them how they can reach us?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, and you need the actual email address to write to us. It's michaellasagna5@gmail.com. When you look in the show notes for this episode, it should be there that you can tap it to instead of typing it out. Send us an email there and put in the subject, the number 60, so that we know that this time we tried to send something back in time, that it was successful and that you're hearing it.
Yeah, we have to know our tests are working. And also, if you have a trick on how to stop the Earth, let us know. We'll pass it on to the UN.
Or speed it up, because maybe speeding it up.
Yeah.
I actually like the idea of speeding it up.
Yeah, me too.
Like just to bring it back up,
Or you can tell it to us and we can tell it to the UN, or you tell it to the UN in your day.
Yeah.
So they already know when this is happening.
Right. We don't need to be the bottleneck.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay, then thanks for listening and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.